This is Dateline News and Conversation. You know, with everything going on in the world since the beginning of this year, but especially since January 3rd, when Donald Trump brazenly attacked Venezuela and absconded with the president of Venezuela and his wife, Maduro, took them to New York. The world really has been turned upside down. The mask of American freedom, democracy, the mask of a kind and gentle, peace-loving nation has been completely removed. Right now, the rest of the world can see clearly. Many of them have known this for some time, but the United States, in the person of their president, Donald Trump, is a brazen, lawless, fascist regime that is bent on using crude power and threats around the world. Tonight, we're going to talk with a very good friend. She has been an anti-war, anti-imperial activist for perhaps most of her adult life. She's from Sweden. We're going to talk about Sweden. We're going to talk about Sweden joining NATO. We're going to talk about what is really going on in that country. And we're going to find out what ordinary people are thinking and talking about in that country with my good friend, Agneta Norberg. Agneta, welcome back to my show.
Thank you very much. I'm so proud that you invited me. Thank you.
You know, Agneta, most of the programs, the shows that appear in the not mainstream, but on the alt media, the blogosphere, they don't have any women. I mean, literally, they are all the same male, quote unquote, experts that they run out there every single day. Now, I am proud, Agneta. On my show, I have interviewed at least almost a dozen women like yourself who have been involved in peacemaking, have been involved in activism. And for that reason, I'm really happy to have you back tonight, because I don't know that there's any woman that I know that has been so outspoken, not only in your native country, but really in the United States of America. You've been active with the Global Network Against Weapons and Nuclear Power in Space in Japan. You have hosted an annual Global Network meeting in your home country of Sweden. So I'm very happy and proud to welcome you tonight, the beginning of this new year. Agneta, I want to begin with this. I want you to give me a little background of the history of the United States presence in your country, in Sweden, and what has been the reaction to the presence of the United States there, and what specifically has the United States been doing? Agneta, please help me and my audience understand how deep and profound this presence has been.
It's a big task you asked me to do, but I am so old. So I remember that when the Second World War ended, I was 8 years old in 1945. And what I experienced and also have learned about the Swedish posture during the Second World War, because we became a country that many looked up at. Oh, Sweden. When I went abroad and said on a conference, I said, I'm from Sweden. Oh, Sweden, Sweden. Yes, we were brave during a long, long time. But now I see a pattern evolve that we take back the black history of letting German Nazis, 2 million Nazis, take the train through Sweden from Germany during the Second World War. I don't recall, but I know that we sent iron ore to their arms factories. And the media and the posture was so pro-Nazi. So we had the whole king's house was. I have a book here. It's not so easy to see. But it is, could you see, Mein lieber Reichskanzler. It's a book about the king's house. That means my dear Reichskanzler Hitler. It's our king who wrote a letter to Hitler, and it was his dear friend. So that has evolved and or changed, of course, but we have to remember that Sweden has not been as it was during many, many years when the Social Democrats were ruling, and then it sort of changed gradually. They had to shoot our Prime Minister Olof Palme. They had to kill him, and it was by all means NATO who killed our Prime Minister in 1986. Because he was a barrier. He was the old form of social democrat. It's almost 40 years since. And from that, gradually down, 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 we have changed. So we are now sitting in the lap of United States of America. Of course, yes?
No. Thank you for that background. Most of us have believed that Sweden is a independent country. Is that correct? Is that a correct perception that Sweden has been portrayed as an independent country?
Since I have some other figures, how we secretly has cooperated with the United States of America, even during these years I told you about, because we had the third world's biggest listening station in Sweden. FRA is it short for the state's listening station. And all what we have done, and that was Edward Snowden, so brave, but he is now in Moscow still, because he disclosed and revealed the National Security Agency that what they were doing and that they were listening in the entire world. And he was asked before he went to Moscow, about a Swedish journalist asked him, "What about Sweden?" Well, he said, I think it's the world's third biggest listening station. That is Sweden. You have United States first, then Britain, and then Sweden. It was a revelation, and it was not disclosed in mass media, but I know I have another document from him, so I know that this was his answer. So Sweden had secretly listening in on Russian military cables, which goes on the Eastern Sea, on the bottom of the Eastern Sea, and sent it to Pentagon. That's what we have been doing.
Agneta,
Another thing that is important, but I think I stop there and you ask because I can talk about it later.
When you say a listening station, I think I know what you're talking about, but I think most Americans will have no idea what you're talking about. Can you describe for me where in Sweden that listening station is, and what is it? Is it a radio telescope? Is it some other technology that allows Sweden to capture this information that Edward Snowden was talking about? Is it just to capture information from Russia? Please explain in as much detail as you can where this is and what it is.
Well, there are not only, how should I say, FRA station. How they do it, I'm not a technician, so I really don't know. But they are listening on all telephone talks. They are taking in all email letters, all kinds of information that is sent within Sweden and abroad. And there are machines, I don't know how the machines function, but I understand it can't be a human who is doing it. But it takes, and it stops at certain words and certain voices. And then it reveals what it is. So during the day, they take in everything, and then they take away a lot of things that is not important, and left is a couple of hundreds information that is important. That was, they are, I'm not sure if they do it in FRA, this station which is close to Stockholm. I've been there demonstrating, but the police came and chased us away, of course, because you shouldn't know about this, you shouldn't talk about it. But it is in the open, FRA it is. But during Obama visited Stockholm in 2012, I think. President Obama, and many said, what is he doing in Sweden? What errand does he have? And then I came to understand that the secret talk, nobody talked about what they were discussing, but the main thing they talked about was United States of America will have all the information you obtain from the Russian cables, cables on the bottom of the Eastern Sea, which goes on the bottom into Sweden and to Germany. It's sort of all kinds of cables, communication. It can be telephone, it can be whatever, internet, you have to have communication. So these information, they have specifically military cables. These are specific listened to and sent to United States of America, to Pentagon or to National Security Agency, where Snowden worked. That's the only thing I can say because I'm not a technician, but I can understand that why you and me can sit here and talk. It's a lot of technique that we don't know, but we can use it.
Yeah, I understand that. And I guess the strategic importance is the geographic location of northern Sweden to Russia, which is why the United States has put that quote unquote listening station there. You mentioned you have been there and protested. Were you alone? Were other people with you? And well, can you be specific on what you were protesting about? Was it just the presence of the United States in your country? Was it protesting against what the Americans were doing to try to intercept cables and messages from Moscow? Uh, Tell me about the protests that you've had there, and where specifically in Sweden is that?
Well, you can take the bus or the train and you go there, and then you come to a place. You go out, and there is FRA. It's very close or not far from Stockholm, this place. And I must correct you because it hasn't been that much protest against these installations. It has for years been during the Vietnam War. Sweden was cooking of anger against United States of America's slaughtering of children and men in Vietnam. It woke me up. But then it has gradually, by media, by different policies, by outright silence in media, very few has kept protesting. So we are not so many today. United States of America has sort of occupied, I should say, Sweden with 17 military bases.
Oh my God.
It's really outrageous because we have a government that is sitting in the lap of United States of America, specifically the Minister of Foreign Defense, the Minister of Defense. He has worked for the British MI6, and he knows it's about CIA in Britain. He has worked for MI6, and these Paul Johnson is his name, and he is selling out, and he has been selling out the entire Sweden. It was also another thing that you have to understand before you can grip the fact that we are a NATO country. Nobody was discussing NATO in the Social Democratic Congress until our former Minister of Prime Minister Magdalena Andersson suddenly said, I have applied for Sweden go into NATO. It was no discussion. It wasn't mentioned.
I want to come back to that, but I want to go back. You said there are 17 U.S. military bases in your country? 17?
Yes, it is from the north to the south. And this Paul Johnson has promised that the United States of America can use these 17 bases. And I am not sure, and many are not sure, if the Americans are already there or if they will come when it is war towards Russia. But I know that they are specifically in S range. And now I come into one thing that you might not really grasp. S range is a listening station that downloads all kinds of information from satellites. It is one of the world's biggest station in the north of Sweden, outside Kiruna. So we have had a big conference about that a couple of years ago. And now the United States of America has taken over almost the entire base and use it for their purposes because you listen on Russia from this base. You can download all kind of. They told me when I was there that 1 square centimeter of the Russian ground you can look at and send to Pentagon. Everything, everything. So it's a scandal, but it is very difficult to make people upset because I have noticed, as I am in the global network against weapons and nuclear power in space since I think 20 years, this wonderful Bruce Gagnon brought me in, and it has been a really good experience. And we have had, as I said, seminars up in the north, but it seemed to be rather difficult to understand that this how space is used. But we have to really start to study this because this terrible criminal President Trump has promised that space will be the high ground for the coming war. And I can say that almost all wars are using space satellites for warfare. So Sweden is extremely important in the north, Esrange, and in the middle where you have FRA, the listening station, and in the south you have another big listening station outside Gothenburg. You have 3 different ports in our country. And why did we join NATO? Then
Yeah,
you come.
I want to come to that. This was a big shock to me. I think in the last year, both Sweden and Finland
Yeah.
formally joined NATO. You started to say there was no discussion in the country. It was just done by people in your government. Tell me a little bit more about how that happened. And more importantly, Agneta, are the people in Sweden asleep? Are they not aware of what is going on and how their country is being used? Are they just like the people in the United States of America, totally asleep, unaware of what their country is doing? Can you answer those 2 questions? How and why did Sweden join NATO? And what's the reaction of the people?
When you say Sweden is about the United States, we used to call Sweden the small United States of America because we are so similar to, it was called the Little America. The Little United States, that's Sweden. And what similarities was it built on? Because we had no war on our soil. Sweden has had no war on our soil, and the United States of America has had no war on their soil in exactly the same 200 years. So we are childish in a way when it comes to war, even if United States of America is fighting wars all over the world and had 1,000 military bases. But Sweden has the same history. That's what I would like to say. We are very childish in a way when it comes to go over to Norway, to Denmark, to Germany, whatever, they know what war is. And now I want to come to how Sweden joined NATO and Finland. Pentagon is planning things very, very carefully. In 2000, I think 13 or whatever, yes, Ukraine was on the spot. And CIA had been there since the beginning of, since the wall fell, a national endowment for democracy as well. I'm not sure if you know what National Endowment for Democracy is. It is about CIA, but it is doing a lot of things better and openly. So they went into Ukraine, and there you had President Biden's son, Hunter Biden, doing a lot of big business. And there you had Brzezinski's son, um, Ian Brzezinski, doing a lot of business in the government. Why do I come to this? Why do I talk about Ukraine? After some years in 1940, the US, together with the Nazis, which they had let in from US and from Canada, and they came back in their children and grandchildren. Nazis came back from different parts of the world and settled down, and they had also Bandera. Stepan Bandera was the big Nazi leader, which the Red Army killed in 1956, I know. But he was the founder of the Nazis in Ukraine. So secretly, media was absolutely silent about what I will tell you now. In the eastern Ukraine, they didn't want this. They didn't want a coup d'etat with the Nazis. They objected. They started a civil war. This was going on for 8 years because the first decision this new fascist government did was to forbid the Russian language. That's all. So then when Sweden and no media didn't tell this until the Russians went in to help the Russian talking people, because the Nazis killed 14,000, at least 14,000. But they didn't tell it in Swedish media, not until in 2022. Russia went in to help their Russian-talking population from extinction and killing and murdering from the Nazis. So what happened in media? They started in 2022 to campaign. The Russians are coming. Ukraine is first. Next is Sweden and Finland. Look what they are doing. Look what the Russians are doing. They go into Ukraine without any provocation. They always told about a non-provoked invasion. That's what they tell about in our media till today. They always say the Russian went unprovoked into Ukraine. So it served the purpose. So Sweden and Finland, without any discussion, because people were like this, look what the Russians are doing, because the media had never talked about it. So that's it. I used to say this was a coup d'etat. A coup d'etat without any discussion. We go into NATO. And Magdalena Andersson, who was the prime minister, must start to apologize for this brutal policy that she had conducted. So there we are. And then it was not so difficult to install all the 17 military bases, not install, but take over, because a defense cooperation agreement with the United States of America was signed. Defense DCA, Defense Cooperation Agreement, with 17 bases. So there, but today, if I jump today to today, even this was agreed on all parties. So I was one in the left party. I say I can't be in a stupid party, so I went out and said goodbye. But now something happened when Trump came to power and invaded or made what he did in Venezuela. The left party had started to talk about we can't have 17 military bases, US bases in our country. We have to stop it. They have started eventually. That's the good thing with this stupid and horrifying Trump administration, that maybe the Swedish people has started to wake up. It's really a wonder. It's
Wow.
really,
So, Agneta, this is really fascinating for me. Um, we don't get much news from Sweden. We don't get much news from Finland. I have a friend in Denmark, an American who's been living there for 20 years, who talks about Denmark, but this is the first time that I've heard, and probably many of my viewers have heard this kind of information coming from Sweden. Now, I want to ask you this. You have been outspoken in Sweden for all of your life. You've protested uh, countless times. Um, you just mentioned that maybe because of what Trump is doing now, declaring that there's no morality except his morality. He does what he wants. There's no international law. Is this what you think is waking up people in Sweden? Are they now worried about what America has just done and is continuing to do since just the beginning of this year, January 3rd, when Trump went in and kidnapped President Maduro? And he's claiming now, Agneta, he's going to take Greenland one way or another. He's going to take Greenland. That's up in your part of the world. It's up close to the Arctic.
yeah,
Do you?
it's a Danish. Denmark is, in a way, is ruling Greenland in a way. I'm not sure how it is done, but they are very close. So I hope, but it is to a high cost, because it's to my pleasure. I can put on TV or radio and hear something that is valuable. I haven't been able to do that for at least the last, should I say, 10 years, because I know one thing because I have other contacts. But you never see it on TV. They talk about Russian are coming in one way or another. But now the latest information has changed, and they are talking. I think they are telling the truth. They are talking about Trump. So that's one of the reasons why maybe the left party had started to rethink their absolutely ignorance and stupid policy, because they say that we can't go on like this, and we have to take back the 17 bases which we have promised. It's one sign, I think. And I'm absolutely convinced that this will, but I say it again, to a very high price, that they have to take away brutally an elected president from Venezuela and bring into the US. We don't know what has happened to him or his wife. Before we wake up, it's really a tragedy, but that's the fact. And it has done this good to us, to Sweden, that we maybe start with the next election in 1 year. There will be an election. I'm quite sure that we will elect not this right-wing, horrifying government we have. And I'm positive that Social Democrats have learned a lesson. I have the feeling that they say, oh, we, we can't go on like this. And Magdalena Andersson, the prime minister, earlier prime minister, she seemed to be, oh, it's terrible. They can't absolutely support Trump. So there we are. It's something good in this tragedy, I think.
Agneta, I can only hope that what Trump is doing now, uh, the threats on all of South America and Central America, he's threatened the president of Colombia, he's threatened Nicaragua, he has threatened Cuba, he's also threatening uh, Denmark to take Greenland, and he is, most people believe, ready to join Israel to once again attack Iran. And I can only hope, Agneta, that if it's not too late, the rest of the people in the world are waking up now to what really is happening in not only the United States of America, what Trump is doing, what I mean, the mask has come off. It is clear now, I think, and I hope to everybody that America is only about raw, crude power. You do what
Yes.
we say or else. But Agneta, as you mentioned, there are 17 bases in your country that America is either using or will use. There are maybe 1,000 American bases all over the world.
Yes.
There are hundreds and hundreds in Europe with tens of thousands of American soldiers,
Yeah.
30 or 40 bases in Japan, Okinawa, and South Korea. Agneta, I know you join me in hoping that the people that have been occupied by these American bases for all of these years are beginning to wake up. I want to ask you one last question. Agneta, as you in Sweden are watching what is unfolding now in the United States of America, a lawless country, a rogue country. Trump has said, my morality is my morality, and I don't need international law. I don't need the United Nations. Um, in your opinion, right now, what do you see happening in the next weeks and months in this year ahead?
Well, I'm, as always, hopeful. I forgot to mention the weekly big protests towards Israel's policy towards Gaza. That has been going on. So I must apologize that I, in a way, pictured a country which was asleep. I want to you take this with you because I have been joining them, are protesting, and now I saw that they have taken in this new item, not only Gaza, but also Venezuela. It's Saturday. They have had a demonstration here in Stockholm towards US policy in Venezuela. So it's already there, but it has been so vague. Population, I say. And I blame, as I did, the right wing, of course, and the Social Democrats has been so vague or weak or terrible, actually. So we are in a breaking point. I'm absolutely convinced that people are not stupid if they come to know. And the opening up of our media with telling about Trump gave me hope that now we may have broken the absolutely admire United States of America. I hope it has come to an end and the truth will prevail and we start fighting. And I'm absolutely convinced that he cannot come to be in power the next president, or if he has to go earlier. I really wonder if he can sit anymore. He is cruel and he is criminal.
Agneta, thank you very much for the insight that you provided from your country, Sweden. I have to agree with you. I can only hope that the rest of the world is beginning to wake up. I can only hope that the media in the rest of the world is beginning to tell the truth. It's hard to ignore and to whitewash anymore what Donald Trump has been doing in the last 9 or 10 days. I don't know how the rest of the media and the rest of the world can continue to cover that up. And like you, I am hopeful, although I'm become less and less hopeful all the time because now, and I'm looking at what Trump might do next. And for me, if Trump again joins with Israel to attack Iran, Agneta, we're talking about the possible extinction of humanity on the face of the planet. We can
Yes.
only hope that the rest of the world can wake up quickly in order to rally against this and put an end to it. Agneta, thank you so much. It's so good to see you again. Stay tuned. I'll be back in touch with you.
Thank you.